Speaker.
Honourable Nicky Wagner.
Mr Speaker, I'd first just like to say how disappointed I am in the member, Mr Peters. He and his attitude to the people of Christchurch. The people of Christchurch, yes, have been hit by a disaster, but we've picked ourselves up, got on our feet, and our province is and will continue to flourish. Mr Speaker, as the Minister of Disabilities, I'd first like to start by thanking the New Zealand Sign Language interpreters who are working here this week. They've done a great job. Thank you very much. Secondly, I'd start to talk about the focus of Christchurch and Canterbury on housing, because absolutely Christchurch has been hit by a terrible disaster. 170,000 houses were damaged or destroyed. 170,000 families have had to manage their way through that. If you say it quickly, 170,000 doesn't sound that much, but that's the equivalent of nearly 6 Palmerston Norths. And of those 170,000, 10,500 were destroyed, have had to be demolished and rebuilt. But I'm going to skip quickly through the resilience of the Christchurch people, through the emergency housing, the emergency repairs, the CTAS, the accommodation subsidies, through the accommodation villages, through EQC insurance repairs, and through the consenting issues with the City Council, until we get to now, 4 years later, and we believe that we're pretty close to be back to the same number of houses that there were in Christchurch and Canterbury pre-earthquake. In 2014 alone, 4,400 houses were built, but there are still pressures. The first problem is that people are coming to Christchurch. People want to be part of our rebuild. We're a magnet for talent to Christchurch, and of course that means those people have to find housing. So there has been increased pressures for workers' housing. Secondly, there's a problem with quality homes. We've got better quality homes in Christchurch. And you might say, well, that's not a problem. Absolutely, it's not a problem for the people that are living in them, but the rents and the costs of those houses have gone up, so it means there's less choice for people who have a lower income, and that's a real problem. And so to overcome that problem, Housing New Zealand, the City Council, housing organisations and new temporary housing options for the vulnerable have been created, and we're working really hard to make sure that all works. Housing New Zealand is spending $1 billion. They've done 5,000 repairs, and they're building a new home every day. Fabulous new homes that are double glazed, that are totally insulated, and there's no downside to that quality because people are still getting income-related rents. And one of the best initiatives in terms of repairing houses has been the initiative that we have with Christchurch Prison, where prisoners are out there giving houses a new lease of life and at the same time learning skills that they can use when they come out of prison into the construction industry in Christchurch, getting a new lease of life for them as well. The Christchurch City Council is working well. Every week we're seeing new houses opening there, and all their houses are accessible. I visited a block last week, and any one of us would be really happy to live there. But the best difference in terms of supply is the housing accords, and the government is working with the City Council on 4 major sites, and that will be over 1,000 new houses. 1,000 new houses, and 20 to 30% of those houses will be affordable houses. They're already started on the Awatea site over in Hornby. The contract's been let for Wells Street and Colombo Street in the Centre City, and as a Centre City resident, I'm looking forward to those people moving into our areas, and the Wicket and Racecourse site is underway. Now that 20 to 30% of affordable housing will be available for the KiwiSaver Home Start package, and that's a real opportunity for people who want to get into their own houses, particularly young New Zealanders, but that policy has been particularly tailored for Christchurch so that we're allowing a second chance buyers to get that KiwiSaver KiwiSaver Home Start package because of the earthquakes. Now, it's absolutely true that housing the people of Christchurch and Canterbury has been challenging.
Time has expired. Chris Bishop.
Mr. Speaker, what an embarrassing